It is almost upon us, the largest annual sporting event in the world, La Grande Boucle, known to most of us as the Tour de France. This year it all kicks off in Düsseldorf in Germany on the 1st of July. It takes in its now traditional 21 stages over the course of 23 days, finishing on the iconic Champs-Élysées in Paris on the 23rd.
It's the race that we've been watching since we were kids. It's the race that gets an awful lot of people into cycling in the first place. It's probably the one race that non-cyclists have actually heard of. And I tell you what, Dan, I don't know about you, but I think my excitement levels are still on a par with when I was, in fact, a kid. Bring it on.
Yeah, completely agree. Can't wait for the 1st of July to come around. This year, those stages total 3,540 kilometres, which is almost exactly the same as last year's event, and they are broken down as follows. 2 individual time trials, which the first one is on the very opening day in Düsseldorf, a whopping 9 stages, which are pretty flat and look set for the sprinters. There are 5 hillier transitional type stages, then only 5 stages in the high mountains, of which only 3 are mountaintop finishes.
It is, however, set to be explosive, I'm sure. Now this year you'll notice that we have swapped wine for coffee for our Tour de France preview show. That's because it is early morning and we're in the rather lovely surroundings of Le Bistro Pierre in our hometown of Bath.
So let's have a look at a few of the key stages for this year's event, which, as we mentioned already, begin on day 1. That is a 14-kilometre, almost pan-flat individual time trial in Düsseldorf. Incidentally, the first time that the Tour de France has ever visited that city, and the first time that the Tour has started in Germany since 1987, when it started in West Berlin.
That is a good fact, that, Dan.
Thanks, mate.
Good fact.
I think this is a great chance to reignite the passion for cycling with German fans, particularly as they've got a decent chance of winning that first stage and therefore taking the first yellow jersey as well.
Yeah, well, they do indeed. The man to do it is likely to be Tony Martin, 4-time world time trial champ, current world time trial champ, in fact. Although, got to say, it's probably not a foregone conclusion. He has only won 3 individual time trials at the Tour de France, and actually, more relevant perhaps, is he's not won a time trial since he took the World Championships in October. No, he's finished second on 3 occasions. And particularly if someone like Rowan Dennis is riding, then yeah, he's going to have his work cut out.
Yeah, unfortunately for Rowan, it doesn't seem particularly likely he will be on the start line, but it would be great to see. Other favourites for that first stage will include Jonathan Castroviejo of Movistar, Jos van Emden and Alex Dowsett, if they get the nod from their respective teams. We've also got Primoz Roglic, who continues to impress as he makes his transition from being a ski jumper to an incredible time trialist. Then we've got young Stefan Kung of Team BMC, possibly Michał Kwiatkowski, and you couldn't count out Richie Porte for that opening stage, given his current form. He's a man, of course, we'll be talking a lot more about later on in this preview. Also, I think that one rider who's going to be very motivated is Marcel Kittel. Not only is he in his home country for those opening stages, but as a junior, before he turned into an incredible sprinter, he was a double world champion at the individual time trial.
Yeah.
Now, recently he finished second to Roglic, a very close second at a prologue in the Netherlands. And all he's got to do is push the winner very close that day, because there are bonus seconds available on stage 2, which looks set to be a bunch sprint finish into Liège. So he has got a chance of the yellow jersey.
Yeah, interesting. That 2 very juicy opening stages for us there, but stage 3 also is going to be a corker. Tailor-made, one would think, for Philippe Gilbert. Firstly, because it starts in his hometown of Verviers, but then the finale, in fact, is a 1.6k climb at 5.8% to the finish line. It's called Les Côtes Religieuses.
Now, a quick look at the overall race route map reveals that this year's route completely misses out the cycling-mad region of northwestern France. However, the way that the route traverses down from Germany means that we've got some big GC days very early on, already in fact on stage 5. So for the 3rd time in the last 5 years, La Planche de Belleville will host a stage finish, and I'm really looking forward to that stage because although it's only a short climb, 5.9 kilometres long, it is quite steep and it has always produced extremely explosive racing.
Yeah, I am very much looking forward to that. As I am indeed stage 9, which looks set to be an absolute cracker. First of all, take a look at that stage profile. That looks savage. And that last lump at the end, or perhaps more accurately, Shark's Tooth, that is the Mont du Chat, which some people say could well be the hardest climb in France. I think that's probably an exaggeration. It is 17 kilometres long, but the worst bit, 8.7 Ks towards the end, are all over 10% average, which is pretty brutal, it's got to be said. And even better than that though, if any of you saw the recent Criterium du Dauphiné where that climb was used, you'll know that actually the descent could well be as exciting as the climb itself. So an absolute must watch. Stick it in your diaries, Sunday the 9th of July. Gotta say, Dan, sorry, but isn't it great when the Tour de France starts on the 1st of July and then you just know that stage 9 is the 9th of July?
Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah, that works great until the first rest day when it mucks things up for you, so I'm afraid.
Yeah,
the mountainous fun then continues on stage 12, which is the first point that they go into the Pyrenees, but it's stage 13, Tyler, I am looking forward to more than any other stage.
Really?
Here is the profile. Now you might be wondering why when you look at that.
Yeah,
Fairly
yeah,
innocuous stage with no famous mountains. However, zoom down to the bottom right and you will see that stage is only 101 kilometres long. Now, if the precedent set by previous short stages like that in the Grand Tours and indeed the one-week stage races is anything to go by, I think that is going to be extremely exciting right from the gun all the way through to the finish.
I think you might be right there. That is one to look forward to. But let's not peak too soon, Dan, because the final week hits the Alps. Stage 17 looks particularly gnarly. We've got the ascents of the Telegraph, the Galibier, and there's one more climb in there, isn't there?
Previous to that, there's another climb, but the Galibier goes over 2,600 metres,
doesn't
so
it
that
just?
is a beast.
There's no respite the following stage because that finishes at the top of the 14-kilometre long Col d'Izoard, so that is going to be savage. And then, to add insult to injury, the longest day of the entire race is the following day. No mountains, but 222.5 kilometres.
And then the final day for the GC riders to do battle is stage 20. That is a 22.5 kilometre individual time trial. And then, of course, it all finishes with the unofficial Sprinters World Championships on the Champs-Élysées on stage 21.
So that is the route. Who are the favourites? We've already talked briefly about the time trial favourites, but what about the sprinters? Much like previous years, it looks like the trio of Marcel Kittel, Andre Greipel and Mark Cavendish will mop up most of the flat stage between them, although that's definitely not a bad thing at all. That is going to be a great rivalry to watch. Peter Sagan, you could imagine, probably will finish in the top 3 of every sprint stage, and then most of the other stages as well, in fact.
That is almost a guarantee, isn't it? So who could upset the big name sprinters? Well, we have got the French trio, haven't we, of Nacer Bouhanni, Arnaud Démare and Brian Coquard, although none of them have ever managed to win a Tour de France stage before in their careers.
No, Bouhanni probably will upset several sprinters at least, even if he doesn't win anything.
Even if he doesn't win a stage, that's right. We've also got John Degenkolb. I'm surprised actually, but he's also never won a Tour de France stage. He'll be hoping to convert a number of second place finishes into a win.
I'm
and we've
surprised
got Alexander Kristoff of Team Katusha, who most certainly has won Tour de France stages previously. And then we can't count out the likes of Michael Matthews or Dylan Groenewegen or Sonny Colbrelli. But it doesn't seem like we're going to get any young upstarts upsetting the apple cart here at the Tour like we did at the Giro d'Italia.
No, it doesn't. Sprinters, all well and good. What about the main event? Who is going to win the Tour de France outright? Chris Froome, defending champ, does start as the bookies' favourite, but only just, and there's 2 reasons for that. Firstly, he arrives in Düsseldorf without a win to his name this year, and that is a surprise because in the previous 3 times when he's won this race, he will have won at least 5 races by this point in the season. But then secondly, it's basically because Richie Porte is absolutely on fire.
He is certainly, isn't he? Contrary to Froome, he has taken 6 very high-profile victories already in 2016. Although, what we do have to remember with Richie Porte is that he has never finished on the podium of a Grand Tour before, so he still does need to prove himself from that point of view. He's absolutely flying in the climbs, and you have to say, given recent events, he's also flying in the individual time trials as well, so he certainly stands a good chance. And at 32, you do wonder whether this is going to be his best ever chance of winning the Tour de France.
You do, don't you? It's definitely not a 2-horse race though. Other podium contenders. Firstly, we've got the Astana duo of Fabio Aru and Jakob Fuglsang. They used their partnership to devastating effect at the recent Criterium du Dauphiné, didn't they? Then we've also got last year's runner-up, Romain Bardet. We've got former winner Alberto Contador. You can't count out Esteban Chavez, although he is going to have to get over that really awful injury-hampered spring. They all raced the Dauphiné, but one man didn't, did he?
No, and it's teammate of Alejandro Valverde you can't count out. But the man that we're talking about, I'm sure you all know, it is Nairo Quintana. Now, I have absolutely no idea what to expect from this man in July. I think you can look at it one of two ways. The first way is that this is his 4th Grand Tour in a row. So the Tour last year, the Vuelta, then the Giro, and now he's doing the Tour again. So he's got to be fatigued and tired, hasn't he?
Well, you'd have thought so.
Yeah.
I would be, definitely.
The other way that you could look at it is that maybe his 2nd Grand Tour of the season is his best one. So last year he was 3rd at the Tour, then he went on to win the Vuelta. This year he finished runner-up at the Giro. Maybe that's a warm-up for the Tour de France. I really hope that we see the best of him this July, because although he did finish 2nd at the Giro and he was solid there, it just felt like one of his turbos was misfiring on declines and we didn't quite see the best of him.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out what he does, actually. Now, having gone through the favourites, it's probably time, Dan, to put the GCN kiss of death on who we think is going to win. It's time for the infamous predictions.
Vincenzo Nibali is not going to make the podium. Not going to make the podium. Not going to make the podium. Not going to make the podium.
The winner is going to be Chris Froome. And Peter Sagan is going to win the green jersey.
Yeah, well, that's a given. But Froome,
Yep. I just think that although he hasn't shown that form this year that he's had before his previous wins, he's just got that experience of winning, and we've also seen that he just throws everything on the line. He doesn't need to win on mountaintop finishes, and there are only 3 this year. So I think we're going to see a similar Froome to last year, where he tries different tactics to take time out of his rivals.
I'm totally torn. I'm totally torn, genuinely. Nairo Quintana.
Oh!
Yeah, and Peter Sagan for the green. I just think Nairo Quintana, as you mentioned earlier, he's always performed better, seemingly, in his 2nd Grand Tour of the year. So I think he's got that. And there's just something about, I would say Richie Porte, but the fact that he hasn't yet made the podium in a Grand Tour, I just have my concerns. So yeah, Nairo Quintana, there we go.
Right, well, let's ask Matt and Lasty what they are predicting this year.
In 3rd place will be Richie Porte. In 2nd, Mr. Nairo Quintana. And the winner, yet again, in my humble opinion, Mr. Chris Froome.
Hi guys, I think that the winner overall of the Tour de France is going to be Richie Porte. For me, the green jersey winner, who else? It's got to be Peter Sagan.
Wow.
Ooh.
Well, time will tell which one of us is right, if any, probably none of us. But we've all gone for Peter Sagan to win the green jersey. Now, we're not exactly going out on a limb with that prediction.
We're not exactly going
But
out
it
on a limb.
either means that we are going to get something right, hopefully, or it's going to prove that there is actually a GCN curse. You're going to feel guilty if he doesn't win the green jersey.
I will, mate. I will feel genuinely guilty.
I think I would feel guilty.
Yeah. All right, well, we've got to cross that slight hurdle then. But otherwise, I'm really looking forward to the start now. And actually, Tom and I, we're going to be out there filming a load of content for GCN. So if there is anything you want to see, do make sure you let us know in the comment section. We'll do our best to get it for you. We've already got a load of super cool stuff planned. Meanwhile, Dan and Matt are actually going to be riding the Maratona de los Dolomites, which I'm kind of jealous about as well. If only I could be in 2 places at once.
Yeah,
hey, what can you do?
unfortunately you can't. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Right, if you've got your own predictions which are different to ours, you can let us know in the comment section down below as well. You'll notice that, lastly, sorry mate, Sai and I are wearing these special yellow themed t-shirts, which will be available to purchase on shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com, a link to which you can find on the screen right now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. To do that, you just click on the globe.
Yeah, and if you want some more content right now, firstly, do make sure you check out the GCN show. All the news of the week and more, that's just down there. And then, if you want to whet your appetite for some GCN type Grand Tour content, click just down there for Team Sunweb's Pro Car Tour with Matt.